We can start?
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
How's it going? Okay, I cannot hear anything. So I was thinking to talk a little bit today, like how to adjust like a yoga for today's environment, because it's a little bit different than Patanjali's time or Bhagavad Gita's time. How people, because we live in a different kind of environment. We live in the society. Okay, I cannot see. Sorry.
Check. He can't hear me. Check your phone. Check your phone. Check your phone. Check your phone. You grab your phone. Yes.
Okay. Okay, sorry.
He can't hear because we're connecting the.
I'm Gokul Chandra. Gokul Chandra is my Jani. I'm from Finland originally, but now I live in Malaysia. I started yoga 18 years ago. I've been practicing with Janne Kontala. He's from Finland also, and I started yoga with him. We started I think in '99 we started practice. It wasn't really popular at that time in Finland. It was a little bit weird, actually. I was not telling my friends that I'm practicing yoga. I tried to hide it. But since then I've been practicing like a hatha yoga, like a bhakti-based hatha yoga. I'm still learning from the same teacher, so somehow things went well. So we've been practicing together from the beginning, and this is what we do. This is from the like a way. This yoga is from the West Bengal, from India, East India, and it's like a bhakti-based hatha yoga. So we have elements of the hatha yoga, we have elements of bhakti. It's old system of practice, and what else I can say? Yeah, now I live in Malaysia. I moved. My wife is from here, and I moved here, and we run the yoga school here. So if you ever drop by, you're welcome to come practice. Okay, so shall we go on with the lecture? Okay, good. Sorry, because I'm not really used to this, because I don't do this kind of conferences. It's kind of weird. I don't hear any sound, and I don't hear you, and I don't really see you, so it's kind of like talking to computer. So let's try, okay? So how to adjust the yoga for like a like a modern environment, because we live in an environment which is not always really supporting. It's not always supporting the yoga practice, because it just, it comes from the different cultural. Already it comes from the different cultural concept, and there's something that many things that we are not familiar with, and we also have our own own traditions and things. It's not always easy to adjust, and also there's like other people around us, and how to somehow synchronize things so that we can still keep up the practice, and we don't really cause too much disturbance to our environment with our yoga practice. So first of all, I wanted to share this first in the two parts, that we have things that is called Siddhanta. Siddhanta means Siddha means perfect, but Siddhanta means like a conclusion or the final idea of the things. What is the point? What is the like a final idea of the things? And on this case, we are talking about yoga, or what is the yoga? Like how I can define the yoga. That's Siddhanta, which is Sat. Sat means that's something that if I change the Siddhanta, then I kind of little distract myself from the practice. But then there's other things which is like it's like a Gnostic part, which is like a not existing, which is bound to the time, place, and circumstances. So that there's kind of external things. There's internal yoga, and then there's the external things. And example, this internal tradition, the core of the tradition. If I kind of change that, then I change the meaning of the yoga. I can get the deviated from there. It gets a little bit twisted. And the external part is that what I should adjust according to time, place, and circumstances. I should try to adjust the external part. At the same time, I should be like a loyal to the that tradition, this internal tradition. So the external things I should adjust. But sometimes we are not very clear of this. We are not clear what is that internal part and what is that external part. And then we may end up adjusting the internal part, and then we are very orthodox on the externals. We get stuck with the external part, and we take that something that you cannot really like a change. Oh, there's dog there. Nice. So let's first I approach it through the Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita says basically teaches that there's like a five dimensions to this internal. I a little bit that's this. So one thing is concept of the self. It's sometimes called, Patanjali calls self as a Purusha. Purusha means like a person. He calls you can say that soul if you use like a Christian way to, way to express things. You can say the self is like a soul. And also Atma, Bhagavad Gita example speak about Atma, which is the self. And Jiva means like a embodied self. So that's one thing which comes on the Bhagavad Gita's yoga and Patanjali's yoga. They are very much stressing this concept of the self. And what is the self? What is that self? According to this idea that we have, it's us, so that it's eternal. There's three dimensions to self. First is Sat means eternal. That self is eternal. Self is never born. But so you can say that soul is eternal. It's never born, and it will never die. And that's so that's one dimension, the eternity of the self. And other is Chit. Do you know what is Chitta? Chit means like conscious. Self is conscious. So self is always self-aware. We can actually partly, even if when we are on this state, we can actually partly we can perceive that we are kind of all the time on one level we are self-aware. So you may sleep or be awake or something, but you always you don't really never completely leave your self-awareness. It's always there. It's always present, that self-awareness. no matter what situation. We cannot really escape the self. You understand? We may change our dress. We may even change our body on some extent. Example, exercising or doing something. So we can change our body on some extent. We may change our opinions about the things, like our perception in life. We can change, but it's like we still are aware that I am I. We are still that I am actually doing these things. You understand? We never really get fully distracted from that. So that's the self is always conscious, and then Ananda is the last dimension, and Ananda means that Ananda. Yes, Ananda means like blissful or happy. The self is also like a content. Self is also happy. The spiritual self is always happy, like always blissful. That's sometimes difficult to understand, because when we're living in this world, sometimes it's uphill and sometimes downhill. But the spirit, if you can get connected to the spirit, that's the state of like eternal happiness. You understand? Self is like a content itself. Now yoga is like an evolution. Yoga is like an evolution back to the self. That's one way to define the yoga. But yoga is actually now we are going outside. We are going outside on our to the senses and sense objects. Our life is kind of many times like externalized. You understand? Everything is we are concerned of the external reality, which is no problem. It's not like it doesn't mean that we shouldn't be concerned. Thing is that's just that we may go with that flow so far that we kind of forget the self, so that we get too much entangled on this external world, and then we forget this internal world, this internal reality. So yoga is basically evolution to go backwards, go back to this internal. And when I'm like happy within, then also the external. So I can deal the external environment much better. Because think about it. Think about this way. If you get the 100% happiness internally, then I don't need to squeeze happiness from outside, which means that I don't need to exploit anyone, and I don't divide people as friends and enemies, because I'm content, I'm happy. Happy, I can more directly deal with the other living beings, because I don't have that kind of self-interest that I try to enjoy, I use the other living beings for my own enjoyment. That's what does it mean that Samadarshan, Bhagavad Gita speak about Samadarshan. Samadarshan means that I'm equal to everyone. It doesn't mean that I'm like some machine that I treat everyone equally, but I can see, if I see the self, I can see that everyone else as a spiritual unit of consciousness, and I can treat them respectfully as a divine. So it's win-win situation. It's not really, you understand, turning towards the self. It doesn't mean that I become somehow autistic or something, that I don't know what is going on environment, or I get detached in that sense that I don't care. It's actually I'm caring more, because I can see that every living being is divine, has the divine origin. If I can see the self, I can see it in the others as well. It's a little bit like if you can play the piano, you can recognize others also if they can play the piano. So same way, if you see the self, if you are connected with the self, you can see spirit in others. If you're connected to the spirit, you can see the spirit in others as well. So in that sense, it's yoga is actually important, like important thing. Okay, and then yeah, so that's the Ananda part. So that is the self. So the little bit round up. So I cannot really take this context. Of course, I can do it, but I cannot really take this context of the self away from the yoga without actually losing something essential. Because if you study, example, if you study the Yoga Sutras, Patanjali is very much like a center, the whole practice around the self in that sense. It doesn't mean egoistic way, but it means that that spirit, that your goal of the yoga is to try to understand the self. Like Patanjali says that the yoga chitta vritti nirodha, yoga is to stop the fluctuation of the mind. That's 1.2, which is the second verse. And then Patanjali says that what is the result of that? He says tada drastu swarupe vastanam. It means that if you practice the yoga, if you stop the fluctuation of the mind, then you can dwell in the self. Iyengar translates this nicely. He says that then seer, which is the self, and seen, which is the self, they are one thing. So things are experienced through the spirit. So that's why it's important, and you can see that you can see that's one of the main teachings of the Bhagavad Gita as well. So this is something what we can, even if we like in a few days work, if we practice the yoga, we may have to adjust some things, how we dress, and also a little bit our practice routine and things like this. But this thing is kind of thing that we should try to see, that yoga is on one level. Yoga is to try to understand what is that spirit, what is that self. Okay, we still good? Still okay? Good. Okay. So next one. So next one is, do you know what is Ishvara? What is Ishvara? Yes. Okay?
God.
Yeah. Okay. I think I start to get used to it, so I don't get the sound. It's okay. It's okay. It's nice. So Ishvara is the, you can say God or Supreme. I was once in a Dallas teaching yoga, and the other teacher says, I mentioned the God. He says that you cannot say God. You have to speak about something else. So anyway, but that's the thing. If I say the word God, you understand, you know a little bit what I just try to keep it simple, So don't take any offense if I use them. Okay, like a source of everything. So Bhagavad Gita says, Aham sarvasya pratmatta sarva pravartate iti madbhavatate mam buddha bhava samamita. That everything emanates from one source. So everything comes from the one source. So this is, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that he is the source of everything, and everything emanating from that. And those who are wise, that's again from the Bhagavad Gita, mat citta, mat gata prana bodhayantas parasparam. So those who are wise, those who are yogis, they try to align with that source. So all of us, no matter what is our nationality or race or gender or even species, are we plants or animals or what we are? So everything comes from the same source. So everything is coming from the same source. So that's one thing, that there's one source, and then the Patanjali's yoga and Bhagavad Gita used that source, calls that source as a Bhagavan. Bhagavan is an interesting word, because Bhagavan means that basically that where all the qualities comes from. So we can see that this world is basically made of qualities. There's nothing else basically than qualities. If I would have to describe you, I would describe the qualities, like different qualities that you are so and so. So everything is actually based on qualities. So everything is has characteristics. And Bhagavan is someone where all these qualities come from. Bhagavan is the source of all the qualities, and Bhagavan is where all these qualities are perfect. So that's how Bhagavad Gita explains the Supreme. And then how about the Yoga Sutras? Do you know what is the term in the Yoga Sutra for how Patanjali is calling the source of everything? Yes, Isvara. Isvara. It means Isa. It's dual word. There's Isa means the Lord, and Swara means like everything. So Isvara is the source of everything, Lord of everything. So that's what Patanjali used in the Yoga Sutras. And this is again thing. Sometimes we may face the situation where people may try to take this concept away from yoga. But I understand in that extent that we sometimes live in the like an environment where it may be offensive to speak about these kind of things. You do some yoga class or some gym or somewhere, and they say that you cannot really talk about this kind of stuff. But this is just something that is if you take yoga a little bit more seriously, you will face these concepts again and again. So you cannot really. It's basically impossible to take out from, and same time keep it somehow structured. So Bhagavad Gita, this is one of the center thing. And your Yoga Sutras also, Patanjali says in the second chapter, 2.48 is the verse. Those who are interested, he says that Samadhi siddhir Isvara pranidhanava. So what is the Samadhi? Samadhi is like a meditative absorption. Sometimes we present Samadhi as a goal of the yoga, but one says, you can see that Samadhi is technical term. But Samadhi is state of meditative absorption. And Patanjali says also that yatha bimata dhyanatva. You can basically achieve Samadhi through any object. He says, yatha bimata dhyanatva. He means that you can meditate any object. You can pick up any object. But he also says this Samadhi siddhi isvara pranidhanava. He says also that that's the perfection of meditative absorption when one is aligned with the source of everything. Isvara pranidhana is like a surrender to the Supreme. So he says in the second chapter that that's the perfection of meditative absorption. So you can see this is very common for the Indian spiritual traditions, that they are same time very. You can see that sometimes it's difficult to keep on track because they are same time very liberal. They are very liberal, that it's for everyone. Like if you really understand the tradition, you can see that it's very liberal. They are giving the stages of things. You study the Bhagavad Gita example. Krishna is giving Arjuna stages. If you cannot do this, then do this. If you cannot do this, then do this. So he don't say that you do only this. If you cannot do it, then it's finished. He's liberal. He says that, okay, I understand. You may not be able to do this, but then do this. So they are very liberal that they say that, but same time they are also very adamant about the conclusion. They are also very, very strong way they present it, what is actually the highest. So you can see this is very common thing, and sometimes it's also confusing. Think about that. You understand? One verse they say that it's okay, you can meditate any object, and then other words they say that this is the highest. Nothing else goes on this level. So you can see that it's kind of good way to present things, because then on that sense we can get more people practice, but same time we can cater to people who want to go more deeper in the tradition. They want more specific answers. They want more specific. But you understand? There's always people who want just something more general. But then if I'm always very general, you understand? Then also those who want to really like more specific answers, it may be difficult for them. So also you can think about, if you teach yoga, that if you can cater these both, you can be very specific same time, but same time you can be also like a liberal. You can keep like options, but you also without losing the goal, without redirecting from the goal, and also own practice. So that's the Isvara. Just to get back to the main topic. So Isvara is the source of everything. So that's one thing that I maybe shouldn't try to adjust, because that's something that is eternal. Okay? That's something that it's been yoga before. The concept has been yoga before. It's there now, and it will be there in the future as well. Okay? And then next is Prakriti. Do you know what is Prakriti? Okay. We should learn this sign language. Sign language. No, maybe next time. Next time. That would be good. I don't know. If you know, it doesn't help. Okay. I know this. Okay. So Prakriti is matter. So this is also one part of the Siddhanta. This is also conclusion that yoga is Dvaita philosophy. It's a little bit different from the tantric traditions. I speak about yoga as a philosophical school now more. So example Sakta, some Sakta traditions, they don't really do this division. They say that like a spirit and matter are the same thing. But Patanjali's and Ashtanga yoga, we divide that there are two different energies. Prakriti, which is the matter, and Purusha, which is the spirit. There are two distinct energies which come from the same source. So this means that they are one and different, because they are coming from the same source. Everything what comes from the spirit is also part of the spirit. Everything which comes from the same supreme is also spiritual in that sense. So spirit and matter are spiritual. Ultimately they are spiritual. But in order to really practice yoga, I have to kind of create a distinction between the matter and spirit. Because we try to approach the self to the matter. So I have to kind of start to divide things. What is the matter? So we already defined a little bit what is the self. Self is eternal. So matter is asat. It means that it's not eternal in that sense that it's changing all the time. But this is something it's very simple to perceive. You can see that everything is changing. Everything external in this world is changing. Everything is born, stays for a while, and get destroyed at the end. So we can see that this cycle is going on. This planet, planet may stay a long time, but at the end, this is also get destroyed. Hopefully, we don't destroy. so that. And sun may stay a long time, but sun at the end, sun will get destroyed also after billions of years. So that's the nature of matter. Change, like you probably heard there's some quote, change is eternal. So that matter is, Prakriti is eternal, matter is eternal, but it's eternally evolving, changing the form. When the spirit is perfect, spirit is perfect, and if something is perfect, there's no need for change. Think about if something is 100% perfect all the time, all the places, there's no need to change. We need change in the life because things are matter is not perfect in that sense. You understand? Why we may live in one place, then we get bored on that place, because it's not perfect. Then we think, okay, it would be maybe nice to move to Hawaii or somewhere. And then I moved to Hawaii, and then after a while I live there, and then I think that, okay, this is also things, this is not perfect, maybe some other place. Or I have my favorite food. I eat my favorite food for a while. But if I keep on eating, same thing every day, then you understand, I get bored with that. It's not anymore my favorite food after a while. I have to change. And this we can understand when we do the external part of the yoga practice. External part of the yoga, we shouldn't take it same way as we do take this concept of the self. We should try to see that we have to adjust things according to time, place, and circumstances, because matter is evolving, it's changing all the time. Example, asana practice. Asana practice, if I'm like a very orthodox, like a bowing down to some sequence, on that sense that I'm not willing to change it, even if my body is getting older and I get some injury or something, but I just push through the practice, then it can things can get worse. But we know this already. So I need to also constantly adjust my practice a little bit. Also diet is one thing. So what I eat. So generally this principle of ahimsa is present in yoga, so that I should try to eat like a non-violent. I should try to eat non-violent way in order to stay in the sattvic state. Sattva means like on the state of purity and goodness. Are you still there? Because the picture
you can say hi
frozen.
if you want to come.
Can you send me the message if you still hear what I'm talking? Because now it got frozen.
We can. Okay, let me see.
Okay, I can see you. Now it's moving. Okay, still alive. Good. So then, like a matter, I should adjust my diet. You understand my external part of my practice according to time, place, and circumstances. And that's not something that's something that actually, like all tradition is giving this instruction. Because sometimes I see that there's debate about this, that these externals that you should, just stick to the routine. Yes, I should keep up my sadhana, I should keep up my practice, but same time I should be willing to adjust things. Other thing is pragmatic things are some cultural things. So how I dress, it doesn't make anyone to yogi to dress from certain way. It may help on certain situations, so that if you dress, if I dress according to environment, it can help me to melt align with the environment. So I should adjust these kind of external things because this matter is changing. Prakriti is changing. That's one concept of the yoga. This world is evolving. This world is changing. And if I want to keep my yoga practice balanced, I have to somehow evolve with this world without losing this siddhanta, without losing these conclusions. I should try. I can be creative. I can adapt the means. If I see that something helps my yoga practice, if it really helped my yoga practice, I can honestly see that I should adapt that kind of means. You understand? No, not because they didn't do it 1,000 years ago. So I don't do it because. But if it helped my yoga practice, I should try to adapt. And if something doesn't help, even if it's so-called traditional thing, so from the external perspective, traditional thing. Example, how I dress, like they dress so different. I don't need to, look like some yogi from the old days. yogi. But I should, if I should change this. I should change this external. Is this okay? Clear? Okay. Okay. Good. Okay. So these are the and last one. What is the concept of time? Bhagavad Gita speak about kala. Kala means time, and that's also something which is sometimes unclear. This concept of the time. So what Bhagavad Gita says, that time is also eternal. Time is eternal in that sense that time exists. Time exists, but time has kind of 4 dimensions. It has like a matter on the conditioned state, on the material level. Time is relative. If you think about this, there's one time. This is the material side, and this is the spiritual side. So on the conditioned state, we see that we perceive time as a relative. We perceive it as a Santa. Santa means past. So Santa means past. So according to Patanjali, past is real, because sometimes we say that only this moment exists, but actually yoga philosophy says that all these 4 dimensions of time are real. Past is real, but it's not manifested on this moment. So everything has past. I have my past, you have your past. And if I practice yoga, I should stay in the moment, which is called udita. Udita is the present moment. I should stay in the moment, but I should utilize the past, you understand, and learn from the past. Learn my own mistakes. That's one thing. And other also is that I should be respectful. Example, this old yoga tradition, you understand, what they have done in the past. You understand. We know that it's past thing, but I should learn from. I can still through the scriptures, studying the scriptures and studying the lineages. I can still learn from their past experiences. So I should try to learn from my own past experiences, and I should try to learn from the others' past experiences as well. So in this moment. Yeah, so that's the udita. Udita means present moment. And present moment is according to Sankhya. Hey, is it getting too much? Because now I use lots of these words. Is it getting, should I tone down a little bit? Or can you follow? Because my English is not very perfect. Okay, you understand. Okay, good. So udita, U-D-I-T-A, udita means the present moment. So present moment is actually what Sankhya explains. It's the smallest unit of time. The moment, time is made. This is now funny thing. This is interesting thing, because time is made from the moment. It's called, in Sanskrit, it's called ksana. Ksana is moment. So time is sequence of the moments. But how long is the moment? How you measure how many like a nanoseconds moment lasts? You cannot really say. It's basically, the value is basically 0. You cannot say how long is the moment. But still time is made from the moment. You think about, if you have, it's basically the moment's value is the 0. If you little bit use the mathematics. And how many zeros you need to put after one another to get 1? It's basically impossible. So same way, reality is paradoxical according to Sankhya, because time is made from the moments, but from the moments you cannot really build them. You understand? Because the value, you cannot build 1 second. How many moments you need to build the 1 second if the value is basically 0? It's impossible. But anyway, this is some one dimension of yoga, that I cannot understand yoga through intellectual, only with the intellectual, way. But I can understand this thing through the meditation by connecting to the spirit. How is it possible? So you can go certain extent you can go through the logic and using the intellect. But after that, there's other means like the meditative practices and such things. I can go forward. Okay. So that's the time. So time is, I should take consideration of this time. And the other dimension, if this is the time on the top, is relative, past, present, and future. Everything has future, which is avyapadesha. Avyapadesha, direct translation is that avyapadesha means that which is not manifested yet. So future is existing. Future is real, but it's not yet manifested. You understand? Future is there. Everything, everyone has future. And if I'm really tuning this idea of time from the yoga tradition, I should also think about the future when I'm building my practice. I should also think about that how this gonna last, how I can make this. If you think about asana practice, I may practice very hard now when I'm young, and then when I'm start to be 30s, 40s, because I was practicing so hard, my body does start to break down. So I utilized that time. I didn't take consideration the future. I was thinking that, okay, I do lots of, stretching now, and then later I get some health issues because of that, because I didn't balance. I was practicing like crazy. So I should think about to practice now on that way that I can practice in the future also. So that I build my yoga practice on that way, balanced way, that I can keep it up when I'm 80 or 90, if I live that far. So that's to take consideration of the future, that I'm not only thinking what is going on at the present moment, but I also think that where this leads, where this action, what I'm doing now, where it will lead in the future. So that's the thing. But everything is happening on the present moment. Everything is, one sense you cannot really live in the past or in the future, because even if I think the past, I'm thinking it now at the present moment. Even if I think to plan the future, I'm doing it now. So on that sense, you understand that. In that sense, we are always kind of stuck in the moment, because everything happening now. Whatever is happening now. Okay? And then we have the eternal aspect of the time. When I get spiritually realized, the same time flips over. And that's the eternal aspect of the time. Then I understand what is the eternity. Like what does it mean that self is eternal? Because now, when I'm in conditioned state, it's difficult to understand because everything is relative. I don't have any basically connect to the eternity. In that sense, I cannot really understand it. But when we reach the level of the self-realization or God realization, then we can see this eternal aspect of the time. And that's the real time. That's Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, covers me, I am the time. So it means that time is the impersonal energy of the absolute. So time is real, time is existing. That's one thing. Time is eternal. Okay? So here is, what is the time, by the way? We have, how much we have time left? Is it 15 minutes? Because the picture is frozen. Again, I cannot really see you. So, do you want me to go to the questions? I can keep on going on and on. I think that I do. Oh, we have 45 minutes. So.
Does anyone have questions?
Yeah. Ask if they want the questions.
No.
We can take the questions, or I go
Okay.
on.
I just kind of want to know, like, what made you want to start doing yoga? You said it was like how you eat from his friends and stuff. It wasn't like a popular thing and stuff.
Okay, let's do that. Let's do that.
Okay, what's your question?
So, thanks for listening. So, let's go to the questions.
What is he thinking when he's practicing?
Questions about practice.
You can write them down, all of the questions, and so I'll just pass them on.
Okay, Santiago asks, what are you thinking when you are practicing? Okay, I use this. I try to use this formula from the Patanjali because I try to align my practice somehow with it. So I kind of try to flow with his, because he says, you know this famous verse 245, Stiram Sukham Asanam. And then after that is 246. Yes, Stiram Sukham Asanam. And then next verse from the Patanjali, 247 is Prayatna Saithili Ya Ananta Samapatibhyam. So I use these kind of give the 5 dimensions to practice. So when you do the now I speak about asana practice. So when you do the asana, it should be sthira, it should be stable. So I try to find the stability in the practice, and sukha, so that there's certain level of comfort. And then prayatna. This prayatna means that there's conscious effort to go certain direction. So I plan the practice. The practice is planned so that there's direction. It's not just going with the flow, but there's actually direction where to take. So that's prayatna. And saithilya means that the effort is done in a relaxed manner. Okay, these are the 4 dimensions. And last one is ananta. Ananta means like a eternal, it's like a eternal like aspect of it's the quality of the God. So I try to align on our tradition, we try to align with the bhakti. So I try to connect myself to my thoughts, emotions, and desires to the source, because that's the goal of my yoga practice, is to connect to the supreme. So that's it's a very good question. It's a nice question. Okay, next question. Dennis asked, what were you looking for when you started practicing yoga? And what did you find? Okay. I don't want to, too much, but I'm a little bit from the bad neighborhood, or like many people nowadays. It's not something. But anyway, I got in the life situation where well, I can tell you that much, that when I was 22, I already had we have small group of people, friends, and already 8 people from my environment, 8 friends has passed away when I was 22. So I kind of life really little bit hits to me that what I should do. So I was from that kind of situation that nothing really didn't feel. I could see what we were doing, it was totally nonsense. And then I see this kind of average show, what people are doing generally. I thought that I don't see any point on that. You just make the money and buy things and then you die. Just sorry. So I was looking for. I got this kind of situation that I want to know what is going on. I want to see I want to understand what is the reality. Why I'm here. What I'm doing here. So I actually started yoga not from a physical perspective, but I was from that kind of life situation that I was looking for truth. I was looking for something, something that is real. And through the yoga, it kind of answers to my questions, like especially these bhakti-based. I was lucky. My first teacher was and still is. He was he has strong spiritual practice. I'm still practicing. I started with this. I went my first yoga class with the same teacher. I'm still sticking around with the same teacher. So he could answer through the tradition. He could answer my questions about what is the goal of life. And then I found that this is first of all, this is what I want to do from this life, and also from the spiritual perspective, this is my path. So I align that. So bhakti is like a devotion to the supreme, and anyway. So that's our goal. That's our goal, and that's our practice. Okay, that's a nice question also. And Pami wants to know, where does the interpretation for Hatha, being Ha, sun side, and Ta, moon side, come from? Okay, Ha, that's good also. So Hatha comes from Ha is the sun and the heating, and Ta is the moon and cooling. So these are I cannot really answer where they ultimately come from, because this is where the Hatha is a little bit if you ask where the concept of karma comes from, because concept of karma is integrated to universe, and if the prakriti is eternal, so also the concept of the karma is eternal. And similar way, these Ha and Ta principles, they are kind of dimensions of this reality which are integrated everywhere. If you understand this principle of Ha and Ta like a heating and cooling, active and passive, it's everywhere. So Ha and Ta doesn't have like a certain specific meaning, and they are not opposite, but they are like two forces that work sometimes towards each other, sometimes away from each other. Sometimes they work together, and sometimes they work against each other. So when there's two, so that's the reality. That's the reality. That's how things work here. Everything has relationship with everything else. So in that sense, this Hatha principle is kind of try to understand that how things are related to each other, and that's where the Hatha Yoga. It's not similar than in the Chinese tradition when they speak about yin and yang. The concept is a little bit different. Concept is a little bit different from this Hatha and Ta. Yeah, that's true. Also, what you say, that definition of how Hatha means to force. Because think about, if you have Ha and Ta principle, and they either work together, they go some direction, that's force. If the force is there, if there's two object or ideas that they work the same direction, that's actually forcing things to move certain direction. And if they work against each other, you can say, if you use this language, of course, to translate this stuff to the English, it's a little bit complex, because they don't really, it's difficult. But they work against it. You understand this? You can say that it's a little bit violent, but it doesn't mean. Don't take these meanings now that forcing means that I do it rajasic way, and this violent means that I'm actually violent, which is tamasic. So if I understand this Ha and Ta principle, I'm using the force and I use the resistance, which means that I'm using, but I use it sattvic way, not to break anything, but to build things, to progress. I'm using the force and I'm using this resistance to strengthen and to grow and to progress, not to destroy something. So if I see it on the Rajasic way, I see that it means like a forceful, that I'm forcing things to happen. And then if I see it Tamasic way, I see that as a violence, that I'm actually damaging things. But Hatha means that Hatha yoga is it's work. It's not easy. It means that I have to use the force on the right way. I have to know how to use it, and I have to use the resistance. It's not only just going with the flow, although there's that dimension also. But it's also that I think you are practicing yoga. You know it's not always easy. Every morning you get up, you get on the mat, you have to little bit mentally go against the current. Many times my mind says no, body says no, but you say somehow your intelligence says yes, we're gonna do it. So yoga there is resistance, but this is again thing that resistance is everywhere. Resistance, this hatha principle is not only in the yoga; it's integrated in the universe. I cannot there's nothing wrong with me, or if I struggle with things, because this world works like that. It works like that. I should just try to be comfortable with that and try to make best out of it. But there's always resistance, and there's always some level of forcing things, But I have to know how to do it so that I don't do any damage. That I do it progressive and positive way. Okay. Okay. What's the first definition that you described? Okay. So hatha yoga pradipika is basically defining the hatha yoga. But we have two dimensions on this. We have shruti and we have smriti. Shruti is like a scriptures, texts, and like a written tradition. And then we have smriti. Smriti means direct translation is memory, which means memory tradition. That if I'm connected to if I'm connected to the lineage, that kind of lineage, that there's the understand moving. That's everything is not on the scripture, on that sense. You understand? Essence of the thing is in the scriptures, but many of like a practical things. You understand? Otherwise, it would be, first of all, we are persons. We are people with the different qualities. Also we have to. So that's why they say that's why basically all the scriptures say that they describe the practices. But then they say, Hatha Yoga Pradipika says it, Bhagavad Gita says that I should find a teacher who knows this stuff and I should study it from the person. So that's the smriti, that's the tradition, like a living tradition. So I should align myself with the scriptural tradition so that I don't work against the scriptural tradition, but I should understand that just by reading the books, I think it was either Geranta Samhita or Hatha Yoga Pradipika says that you don't learn yoga just by reading books. Now we can also extend that you don't learn yoga just by surfing in internet. But thing is that I should try to, you understand, I should find someone who is like connected to the tradition, and then I can learn this. Then I can understand this smriti, which is this non-written tradition, which is still going on some extent. It's still going on. It's not lost because there's still people who are actually aligning themselves on these kind of traditions. I know few traditions where they are actually, and you understand, they are not deviating from the scriptural tradition, but they are expanding the scriptural tradition. So this, anyway, you got that. How do you adapt this tradition, what you teach into today? So, what do you mean, like adapt? So, my personal, this is now just my personal. I don't know how the other people do things, and that's completely okay. How people do things. How do you apply them in the teaching today's life? Okay. So first of all, I should try to understand the topic. First of all, start from that I should first try to intellectually understand what I'm trying to learn. So sometimes we jump in the situation. We jump in the situation, okay, ha and ta uddiyana bandha. Okay. Then I say ha, ta uddiyana bandha from the pubic bone out to the sides and ha uddiyana bandha right to the center. Then you say, okay, now I got it, that's there. But did I really understood what does it mean, It takes long time to really, first of all, intellectually understand that what we are trying to do. And then the next level is so that's called, you can say that's called sambandha. That's like a theoretical understanding. That takes long time. I have to really define, I have to talk, ask questions from the teachers. Can you explain it again? Is it like this? And you try to confirm, did I understood first what we are talking about? And then next is abhideya, which means practice. I have to practice. I have to practice it, which means, Patanjali says that practice means, Dirghakala Nairantara Satkara Sevitu, practice means to repeat the same thing long period of time without interruption. So then when I understand what I should do, I try to practice it long time. Not only that, okay, I tried, it didn't work. Can you give me something else? No, I should actually try to apply it on the long time. And then when I kind of, they say that you know when you know. So if you really if you really do the practice properly, I start to actually experience. Okay, this maybe is the bandha. Then I also try to confirm. Someone else who is practicing it higher level than me, I try to confirm. Is the uddiyana bandha like this? If I do it like this, and then if they kind of confirm, then I start to see that okay, maybe I know something. Maybe I little bit can do it. So then I can teach it. Then I should teach it. So this doesn't really apply yoga. There's some truth in that. I don't say that that's completely nonsense. I just say that you can master things when you teach. So, but actually, I should experiment with my student. I should actually learn first, practice myself, and if that works, then I should share it forward. So applying things, I try to understand the topic, which is the thinking level, Sintayanti pratyaya, and then feeling level, which is the bhava pratyaya, which means that I practice, I get the personal experience of things, and then I pass it over, then I pass it forward. And then I'm on the safe side, because I'm teaching what I know, okay? So, okay, and the next question is how you can elaborate samanya, how we can allow minds to be in this way during meditation. Okay, that's nice. That's nice. So, samanya, what is samanya? Samanya is like a passive observing focus. And the point for the marma for the passive observing focus is bindu. It's the center of the back edge of the skull. So try to bring the focus on that point, and that kind of triggers the mind. So you try to bring the mind on that point. That triggers the mind of this state of passive observation. And I should, when you do them like a meditation practice or even asana practice, I should try to get on this kind of state. That's not the whole thing, because we have also the visaya, which is the active focus. So, but if I want to really understand that, what is the samaniya, what is the passive focus, I should approach it with the basically opposite. I should understand what is the objective, or like one-pointed perception. You understand? So again, we have basically ha and pa. So visaya is the ha. So active, selective, one-pointed focus is ha, and then the passive objective, like a many-pointed focus or not attached focus, is samaniya. So if I want to understand the samaniya, I should try to understand visaya as well. because if you understand the other extreme is making sense. So do this kind of practices. This is very good question. So do this kind of practices where you use like you sit down and you try to focus. This is the point for the Visaya, for the active one-pointed focus, is the ajna. So do that. You can do that kind of practice that you bring the mind on this one-pointed focus. You try to keep it one-pointed, and then after a while, after a few minutes, you let it fall, awareness fall on the back edge of the skull, and then you let it open. You let go. You let go of that. And then you can enter on this samaniya state. So you bring it very Visaya state in order to bring it very samaniya state. Do you follow this? It's like if you have rubber band and you stretch the rubber band. You understand? You go to the little bit on the limits, and then you release it, and then it really goes back to the this loosened state. So same way, if you do the Visaya, you do it very specific, one-pointed focus, and then you let it go, and then it bounces back to this samaniya state, and then you try to stay there. You try to keep the mind there without keeping mind there, which means that you are passively observing. Did this answer this is a very nice question, but I would like to do, maybe in future if we can meet, we can do some practices, because this is very practical question. But I hope this helped you. Is it okay? Okay? Okay, good. Anything else? Okay, what happens when you let go? So, how long you let go? So, how long you can keep it so that you because there's kind of limit, because this is the practice. It's like practicing the muscle. Practicing the mind, in one sense, physical and mental body, they are part of the same causal system. They share lots of similar functions or similar principles. So practicing the mind is like practicing the muscle. If I stretch the muscle, so when I should stop the stretching, when it starts to be like a counterproductive, in that sense. If you stretch the muscle a long time, it starts to contract. It starts to actually get muscle start to protect itself, because when you stretch the muscle, you stretch the nerves as well. And if you stretch it a long time, one point your muscles start to protect the nerves, so they start to contract, which means that the stretching is not anymore effective. It goes more near where the muscle is connected to the joints, the stretching. So it's not anymore. I should stop before that happens. Similar way, if you practice this passive focus for the long time, there's two things. On the one point, because it's the passive focus, so you are not really practicing. You are just observing. And if you do it long time, because this is just one dimension of the mind, it's not like it's not ultimate practice, which means that it's also you understand, there's enough for that also. So which means that when my mind starts to get either tamasic or rajasic state, then I should, technically the practice is finished. So tamasic means that you are passively observing, and then your mind starts to be inattentive and fall to sleep. Okay, so someone is yawning. Okay, so I should stop when if I cannot keep mind anymore, if it gets too passive, it gets so passive that it gets tamasic. Can you follow? And then also my mind gets tired, or this passive observation, which means that it starts to be active again. It becomes rajasic. I cannot keep that passive focus anymore, because they start to come mind start to get distracted too much on the practice. And if I try to force the passive observation, you understand, that's not anymore passive observation. I cannot force it. So if my mind starts to get distracted and I push it back to passive, if I have this kind of internal conflict going on there, it's not anymore passive observation. So that's one. If your mind start to fall asleep, I should change the practice. It doesn't necessarily mean that you should stop that meditation, but then you change it to the Visaya. Then you stay with active focus. If mind get tired, you wake up again. Or your mind get distracted, it starts to go here, it doesn't anymore, practice doesn't work anymore. You have to force to be objective. Because to be in objective, that's not you cannot force to be objective. You have to let go to be objective. Okay? Is that okay? I have some I have some nice practices for this. Maybe Tami can also share you some of this stuff. We've been doing this so there's you can continue. Okay. Do you have any questions related to this?
Does anyone have any more questions until now? No?
Is it hot there?
Yes.
Yes. It's hot here also, so we're on the same level. Okay. So actually, okay. If I go a little bit of this, these meditative practices, just some theory about this. So, meditation in yoga, meditation is actually it's really there's very elaborate systems, and it can be quite technical, and at the end it's simple. But in order to get on that platform, it can be. It's not just that I sit down and then I sit down and then I stay there. But it's actually work. It's hard work. There's different techniques. Example, this Visaya is the active focus. That's because we try to understand how mind works, and then we are changing the mental instrument, which is called Vikara. Vikara means mental instrument. So I'm actually, when I'm doing the concentration practices, dharana practices, and meditation practices, I'm actually working with the different instruments. It's like when you do the physical exercise. You're not only practicing with the biceps. You understand? You are not only practicing, hopefully not, but you are trying to see things more holistic way, and you understand that there's other body parts also I have to train and bicep. So same way, if I do these meditative practices, there's many different dimensions of the mind which I practice. Example one is this samanya, this passive focus. So I do the passive focus, and when that, you understand, then I change the focus. I sit down, externally it looks like I'm doing the same thing, but internally I'm actually changing the practice. I may do the passive focus for a while, and then I change it to the active focus. And then there's a state called samapatti state. Samapatti state is when you actually connect with that's the pre-meditative state. So Visaya, active focus, Samanya, passive focus, they are dharana techniques, they are concentration techniques. And there's Samapatti state when you bring the passive and active focus on simultaneously. That's like a Samapatti. That's like a Samapatti. Samapatti means that it's like an absorption, mind is absorbed. Let's do very short practice. Can you hear me in a real time? Just very short. Okay, good. So sit down, spine straight. Relax the mind. First focus on the breathing. Breathing brings you a little bit more aware of this mind. observe your breathing. And then try to bring the focus between the eyebrows on the ajna. Keep the face relaxed, facial muscles relaxed, and then make the mind one-pointed. So there's nothing else. You can think about one black dot between the eyebrows, and then there's nothing else exists technically for you. You try to make your mind so much one-pointed that all the other awareness almost disappears. This is called Visaya Krata. And then bring the mind, focus on the bindu, on the brackets of the skull, on the center of the brackets of the skull. And now, almost opposite. Just let go, observe your mind field. You kind of outsider. You observe mind outside without taking the part. Remember, you cannot force it. You just have to release and let go for that passive focus. And then bring mind back to between the eyebrows, Visaya, Krata, one-pointed focus. And keep it there now. Keep mind one-pointed. And same time, introduce that passive, objective focus. And the now energetical center is Mudva, crown of the head. So you are same time actively, selectively focused and simultaneously, passively, objective way focused. And this state is called Samapatti. And exhale, release. Okay. So these are this you can on your own you can do more this practice lengthen the time. So I explain it once more. So first, Visaya, Krata, focus between the eyebrows, make the mind one-pointed, selectively focused. Then you hold there for a while, and then after that, when it start to be, you cannot hold it anymore. When it's not anymore practical, because also the mind get of course, bring it back to the one point. Don't give up too easily. But understand it's not really like a course. Don't let it go to the Rajasic, because that can cause some mental like disturbances. You are not really, don't try to do it too Rajasic way. There's always effort. There's always effort. Mind get distracted, you bring it back. Mind get distracted, you bring it back. But be practical. You understand? It shouldn't be that kind of that at the end you are pushing and forcing your mind. You do it gentle way. But if you cannot maintain it anymore, then bring the focus on the bindu, on the back edge of the skull, and then just let go. Go to this state of passive, objective focus. You just let go, which is almost opposite to that previous one. And you try to remember, if you try to force that passive focus, you cannot expand your passive objective awareness without it becoming active, selective awareness. Do you understand? If you let, you really have to relax, you really have to just let go. And if it doesn't go further, you should be happy with that. Because I cannot force it to expand the awareness. Okay? And then after that, after a while, you bring it back to the Visaya on the active focus. You try to maintain it, and then you make this paradoxical state. Same time you try to bring the passive focus, which is the bindu, which is the back edge of the skull. So you keep them active. Remember, it works only this way, that you do the Visaya first, and then you try to bring the Samaniya in. Because so then your mind becomes on the state called Samapatti, which is the absorption. And this Mudva, crown of the head, is the marma for that state. So this is now then the mind is absorbed. It's actually quite a nice state. If you can get on that state, it's kind of pre-meditative state, the mental absorption. And then you can use this. This is like a tool. It's these all three functions, Visaya, Samaniya, Samapatti. They are like tools. They are called Vikara. Vikara means technically mental instrument. And if you have tool, you understand, it's not enough that you have tool, you should use it to something. So this whole idea of these vikaras is that you are focusing on the object of meditation. Example, Patanjali gives the good object of the meditation is Om mantra. That I can first focus the Om, this Visaya Grata, this active focus on the Om mantra. Then I can focus the passive focus on the Om mantra, and then I do this Samapatti, where the active and passive focus simultaneously. I focus that on the Om mantra. So these mental instruments, it works well as a practice just by using them alone. That you take these instruments, you are kind of, practicing these. It's important, but also it's important that you pick up the object of meditation. And then you use these instruments, these mental instruments, on the object of meditation. Is okay? Okay, good. Did you write me something? Okay. Okay, last questions. Okay.
So anyone has any last questions to finish up? No? Okay.
No, really.
All right. Let me turn this on. Teacher, can you hear us?
Now I can hear you. Yes.
Okay.
Nice.
So I disconnected the Bluetooth so you can hear, and like we are everyone in this room. You can all say hi.
Hi.
Hi. Nice to hear you.
And we just wanted you to hear us, and that we're here, and that we're very grateful for you giving this. Can you turn on the light over there?
I'm actually very inspired. Also, it was really nice.
Thank you, and we hope we can do this again very soon.
Yeah, of course.
If anyone has a suggestion.
Nice to see you. Hey, Daniel, nice to see you.
We heard everything really well, and we did all the exercises, and we took notes and everything.
Okay, that's nice.
So we
That's
were
nice.
very aware of everything that you were saying at all times.
Thank you. It was very inspiring to me. It was nice to have some online practice with you. Let's try to do it again.
Yes, teacher. Then we thank you so much for letting us talk to you and for you guiding us today for this lecture. I'll talk to you soon, okay?
Okay. Have a good night then.
Thank you. Bye,
Thank you.
teacher. Bye.
Hope to see you soon.
Yes.
Bye.
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 That was sweet. That was awesome.